that doesn't know about the book, tell them a little bit about how it started or what the book is about. Give a blurb about that, and then we'll run from there.
Yeah, thank you. So the book was supposed to be called Malume's Bones. I think that's why we stuck there.
Yeah.
But I changed the title because, I was thinking about just the male figures in our lives, in my community. So the book is really a dedication to my uncles who, especially the one who went to exile in 1977 and never returned. So with this book, I believe that because he's disappeared, his spirit moves on. We just had this conversation about how I feel poetry reaches beyond now. Like, I believe these are prayers, these are conversations with him, just to let him know what's going on in the country that he left, fighting for. So I'm just telling stories of people, what we're doing with our current lives, celebrating also just the love we have, the laughter, the joyful spirit that we still, have as a Black House. And, I also talk a bit about my life, just an update on how I'm doing, how I'm experiencing things. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanna start from here. So this is your first publication, right? Your first solo work, basically, right? Yeah.
Yes. So I want to say yes, please, because
yeah, it's your first solo work. Okay, so I want to make a point about that and then move from there. So I know as an artist, your first, for example, your first album, your first solo exhibition, etc., is a big deal, and it very much is. How can I say, it's exactly what, like, your past 20, 30 years of your life, all bottled up sort of in one product, product.
Because also it has to make sense, right? You have your collection should make sense. You can't just put in any poem that you've written. Because I remember with my process, there was a lot of editing out, like a lot of poems didn't make it here.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
Some of these poems in here have been published in other journals, but edited. So I felt like, this is a space to just say, check out my voice as a collection, I suppose. And it is a special moment because, this is you. Yeah.
Okay. So that is about the anthology and sort of like how we got there. So it was published 2023.
Yeah. In October during the language conference at Salt Lake University.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about that. How was the book received? It was published in an academic space, so I assume that the experience will be different from a normal commercial space.
I didn't think so because people. No, I didn't feel that at all. In fact, it was a continuation of the conversations we've been having, because it was a language conference. So mine is multilingual. I write in isiZulu. I write the way that I talk, like in my demotic language as well. So it was just a continuation of the conference itself, and I thought it was cool. But I also noticed that in an academic space, because it's poetry and my truth, it was cool to even see people having a bit of emotion, because I feel like
I remember that. I wanted to ask about that.
Yeah, in academic, even it's writing, you are so divorced from yourself, from you. You can't say I know this for sure. You have to keep it distant, keep it formal. And I mean, this was poetry. There were tears. People were crying, and that was, I cried too, because
yeah, I mean, it's an incredible experience.
It was incredible.
And it's a very emotional experience, and was as a part of it. We actually touched about this just before we recorded. Just for what's the word? Anyway, we don't really want to talk about Palestine, although I did bring it up with Siza early on. I don't know. I just felt I had to. I don't really want to share my opinions on this platform. But you did mention, while we're talking kind of about that, about how you said you had a session of reading yesterday, where you were talking about, where Alan was talking about poetry is a religion. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So this is Alan Finlay's. We have a reading group on Thursdays, and yesterday's selection was just European poetry, um, written in the 1900s and just coming down with the theme of war and death, and
Yeah.
kind of like what everyone is feeling in the world right now, like boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of the poems we read like really just spoke to my heart, and he put it so beautifully. I should have recorded that, and I can't remember him word for word, but it was that poetry is like a religion without rules, It really reaches beyond. Just beautiful to know that I'm not the only one who thinks.
Poetry is prayer. I like that.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of why I sort of want to bring up, like, how are people receiving the book, and like sort of what themes are they extracting from it. So I kind of love that sort of as a let's just call it for now, like a headline, or to move into. When you're saying poetry is prayer, the world is pretty crazy. We were touching on like what was happening in the Middle East, but I mean, like, there's also a lot of crazy stuff happening over here. We didn't have water for 2 days out of last week, so that is 48 hours
guys.
in 42, 43, 44 degree heat.
Yeah.
And even now, like, they cut our fucking lights literally 5 minutes before we recorded. Literally, like, I it's unbelievable. So, and I always love the fact that that artists can sort of tap into a different realm, a different dimension than what everybody is going through, and we do that in the most honest medium. Is there something you can share to us? Not necessarily that covers everything I said, but some of what I said.
No, and I hear you, and I didn't want to. Yes, I'm irritated, especially with the water.
It's a problem.
But yeah, and we have to buy the water, It's also
privatization of water.
And it's expensive. But I was just thinking about what you're saying, and I thought of this poem, like, to share also, so that you get an idea of some of the themes that are being extracted in the book and how the book is being received. For my uncles, Mandla and Jabu, in exile. Malum Mandla, I found your children on Facebook, Nomagogo and Temba. We talk now and then, share memories of you, pictures you carried when skipping the country, and the ones we took at your funeral. They were born in exile, still live far, far from home. We will welcome them with a gold spile one day when history remembers unmarked graves. Remember Brajo? I saw him at a funeral last week. He cried when he saw me. He said, I remind him of you guys. He said, the last time he saw you, Malum Jabu, your face was covered in blood. He thought you were dead. Now let me update you with the news in Dube. Sparks died drunk and broke. Brawandi runs a restaurant in B&B. Other men are limping and stammering, loitering, raising grandchildren. I'm sure Mdu last took a bath in 1982 when Amabunu hit his head with the back of an AK-47. He walks around with pieces in plastic bags, doesn't have an ID. What can we do? The moon remembers the day you left. When Maponya sold the supermarket to ShopRite, so many other spazas closed down and the Pakistans took over. It's still rough round Dube Hostel. They bomb ATMs, break into shops. Maketama is still there, still sells meat, but also struggling, like the flower shop next to the butchery. Flowers shadowed by strands of hair as litter grows from the ground. Most neighbors have extended their houses. 3 back rooms and a garage. The apricot and peach trees are gone. All we have are broken street lights and street humps. A lot of people, have died. Mlangeni passed on last year. They gave him a state funeral. The whole army was there. Brajo introduced me to some members. Bob Malilo. Their eyes running over me, they attended their drinks. Can you believe that Tokyo married Ingamla and left Dube? I used to see his mother at Fatima's, the time I attended every Sunday. Soweto can't afford electricity. People write their names down for food parcels. You loved this country so much that you left it. And what happened to the spear of the nation? I wonder what was written in your letters. A litany of dead or corrupt comrades. And all the letters you wrote from exile, how did you send them? Because we never received them. Oh, yeah, there's another stanza, but it's on page 9. Yeah, it's a long one. Page 7 of U Grand Malume. Yeah.
Thank you, Siza. Thank you. Thank you for that. Tell us a little bit about the poem.
Yeah, the poem also just, I think...
Give us some background on it.
Yeah. So, like I say, I'm just updating my uncles on what's going on, since they left the country in 1977 to fight the oppressive system of that time. So, like literally, it's just a letter to them telling them that, connected with their kids on Facebook. We made sure we are the real people because of the pictures we were able to see. And thank you, technology, for that.
Yeah.
That was really
technology
cool.
is allowing us to record even while we don't have power.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? Yeah.
So that was really cool. And also just the stuff that's been happening around their neighborhood where they grew up, their home, just how atmosphere
I was kind of like of storytelling, and I'm saying storytelling instead of poetry because I guess that's sort of how I'm sort of imagining it, as you're reading it, and I really get a sense of like somebody who's giving a very sober but very honest view of everything, and looking at everything from like a social political perspective, a social thing. So if they disappeared in like 77, like
just after the Soweto
the Soweto riots, yes. It's 2023,
2024. Jesus, where's Lee?
Yeah, that was the wine, and maybe some of the weed, maybe both, and electric. Anyway, I'm making excuses.
Oh Lord.
You know one thing about being an adult, when you get called out for something, you make a lot of excuses, then you know it was an honest thing. So clearly, I felt that one. anyway, I was gonna say, it's 2024. Can you sort of give us a view since we do have a national election coming up this year?
Okay. But sorry. I don't have time for that when those things are just politics and nonsense. But what I wanted to say and comment about the poem I just read was actually the response to some of the stories, because these stories are real, poetry is real, guys. So people could identify with some of the narratives here. I mean, there's a stanza about Sparks dying drunk and broke. And when I read that line to his son, he laughed. He was like, thank you, Sister. It was cool. I mean, and sometimes it's scary because you're like, I'm writing a reality here, but because poetry, allows for that, it becomes because we've had a lot of conversations around this book.
Yeah, you get that. We get a lot as well, is the conversations and how you conceptualize that.
And just memories and dreaming. Because, after talking about these little stories, like, but what we could do to improve this street in particular. Our street, we should do it like the olden days. And, people working together, starting out gardens, It's all cool. So I believe in the power of poetry.
Yeah, I know that very well. And thank you for being such a custodian of poetry. I know that on this platform, we like to celebrate people like that in all the art forms. Because there's a lot of bullshit out there, as everybody knows, and it's very important for everybody to know that people like us do exist, and we are busy. So is there
Exactly. Sorry, because I really don't know anything about the elections. I don't even know who to vote for. Like, so I don't care. Like, it's a lot, guys. I didn't even know we had the sauna the other day. You were just telling me. I was so oblivious of that fact. So
I also don't know. I don't know who I'm going to vote for. Yeah. I do want to vote though, but I don't know who. And I have my
go
reasons.
out there and vote, guys.
I just feel that it is just a quick point on the. It's certainly related to Malume's, but it's just an interesting point. I think which makes 2024 so unique. Yeah, there is so many major elections across the world. Russia, US, us. Geez, like there's many others of some of the Asian countries. There's many, and they all have quite a bearing. I just think that's quite, and it is a leap year, and I just find that. But quite
also, have you noticed how
interesting
the people's power on the ground, like for me, in my experience, since the year started, I've seen this GP Gangsters initiative of covering up books, making it a whole thing, like help with the stationery and
really?
Going back to school.
Okay.
This weekend, actually today, it's the start of the Makelwane Festival. Vet had a comedy thing. Like, I feel like even in the arts, there's a beautiful energy around. And I think I want to really zoom into that because it distracts us from this pain constantly.
Yeah. Art is definitely
so it's things
to do that.
To really.
So actually, tell us a little bit about that. So, on how many festivals or book fairs or so has U Grand Malume been featured?
Ooh, and you're making it sound like it's been out there, like.
But it is out there.
and thank you everybody who bought the book. I really appreciate it. And thank you. The book was at Salwana Music Jam sessions on Tuesday the other day. Labels Backpackers and Soweto has always welcomed the book all the time. The Splash Jam market the other day. And obviously the formal launches and discussions. And I had a few interviews.
Is there any few that's coming up over the next, let's say, month that you can sort of promote now?
Can't think of one really, but in Kimberley we are having the Beans Crow sessions. I will be reading from the book again. Thank you, Beans Crow. Beautiful home, but I'll keep you guys updated. Like, I'm busy.
Yeah. There's also one thing about having a book. In South Africa, if you're watching this thing from anywhere in the world, like you gotta do everything. You gotta be on marketing, fucking advertise everything. You pretty much gotta be like.
And there's this festival happening at Con Hill just now. What is it?
Can't think of it. What?
Yeah, please. You can cut this off, but yes, it will be there, featured there, as well. But that's the interesting thing also about poetry, just how I'm not really keen on a specific audience. The other day, Jarrell sent me a video of his son reading pages of U Grand Malume. I thought that was cool.
That is cool.
At other times, I sell the book in a food market, so I'm quite enjoying the conversation.
Yeah. Poetry is definitely experienced in many different spaces. For sure.
Native Rebels, I was there the other day. Sold a few copies during the 50th celebration of hip hop, so that was cool. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, sure. Is there any piece that you can share with us?
Maybe U Grand Malume, the title book, because Wesley, it's not Malume's Bones, it's U Grand Malume.
Yeah, I keep yeah, anyway.
Okay, U Grand Malume. It's on page 52, West, I think. Yes. U Grand Malume. 1. I was 9 months old in prison with my mother on the dawn of a march so long it ceased to matter. My mother's heart broke inside my mouth that day. I was feeding on her right breast from 5 a.m. until 8 p.m. We were in a small holding cell at the Protea police station. Our crime, a letter we never received. Malume had written letters from exile, though not one letter ever reached us. The telephone didn't ring with your voice, but the security police detained us anyway, demanding we account for a body whose bones we still wait to bury. My nappy rash worsened. If only Mama knew your grave number, Malume, or the house number of your current residence. 2. Now I hear you genuflect. Kiss the bleeding feet of a white man. You are drunk and guilty of his sins of the body, cunnilingus, masturbation, homosexuality. You sit alone at a table, 6 bottles of Corona on ice, staring at seriously sad-looking women dying of thirst, 6 sealed brutal fruits on a mountain of ice. You sleep around between taxi madness, smoke from chicken dust, lurch into the house of an angry wife. You drive around the whole night from one open spot to another, dance the piano drum line until your sweat floods the floor. You lost your guns and boots. You lost your pen and children on your way to freedom. U Grand Malume. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Siza.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the title.
Poem.
Title poem.
Yeah.
So clearly, you had a very good relationship with your with your uncle.
No, I never met them. I was born much later.
Yeah.
But in
there
dreams,
there is a form of a very strong sense of that's lovely, man. I was actually thinking of something else, but like I can't. I'm also looking at this at the quality of the light. So just to the audience, like we've just been recording now for a 25 minutes, and the light is actually fading here. So Siza, I actually wanted to, one thing also what I understand about besides just the poetry to explain some of the backstories, also to enable the marketing side of it is also like the way forward, because I love that we early on we were talking about like when you said like poetry is a form of religion. I love that because as we know, like in this post-COVID world, everything just got crazier every year things just got crazier, and there's so few institutions that people can believe in, and this is such an honest and such an accurate reflection of not of the history of society and so forth. So I always want to talk about how does your work relate to today, and what else you're gonna do. For example, like anyway, all the arty things, also the processes behind it, and also because you're an academic and you're always writing, what comes after this and so forth. But Ashman, just because of a technical thing, do you mind like in closing, is there another piece that you can share with us?
Yeah, I'd love to share a piece that is much lighter actually, because I also am very aware of, the narrative that we hear about, the large wars of the country. It's always men who fight it. It's always men with guns and, strategies, and who wear the suit and solve the issues of the country. But I'm aware that there is a very strong feminine leadership that is actually embraced if we look back into who we are as Black people, as in, the matriarch system that exists even in our traditions and practices of who we are, even on the spiritual level. So yes, beyond this, I want to write more about the things that and the women that are incredible, just to balance off this tilted equation of the world is.
That's actually, I'd actually like to do a full episode about that because we spoke about this like in private many times, and I think like, yeah, I'd love to hear more of your perspectives on that. We will do that on a future day for sure.
Definitely.
But yeah, I just wanted to highlight that point. So yeah, continue, please.
Okay, so I lost my train of thought and I can't find a poem I want to read.
Oh no!
That talks about that. No, but I just landed on this one actually. That was inspired by Isabella Mutadinyane as poetry book cover. Actually, it was just a book cover, her poetry book cover that inspired this poem. She was from Soweto. She was dope. Woman in a red book. The woman in a red book gives me her bag. Her eyes staring at me. She is sitting on a bench, her arms stretched into fists. The woman in a red book blurs out buildings with black windows. Her eyes ignite flames in my eyes. The woman in a red book is in the middle of the picture. The backdrop of the picture has a loud moving noise. The man in a black cap is cut off the frame. His body is absent, his lips half open. Okay, that was a poem, but yeah, there's a lot that happens in our pain, Wes, and these are some of the themes that are important to me, like spirituality, how we connect, the very core of Ubuntu. When we talk about Ubuntu, the me in that whole collective. Like, so I'm interested in just groundedness and and spirituality for me is an avenue that I
I wanted to talk about I wanted to talk about all of those things. I always feel it's so important to document this process behind artists. Ashman, but like I'm also checking technically and these damn dogs is also starting to bark here. My sister, Siza, thank you very much, man. We'll definitely follow up with and also anyway, I was gonna say future product. I also think this is such a crazy year. I think that poetry can definitely. Anyway, I was gonna talk about marketing. I also think there's a different way of packaging what you're saying for this African and actually all the African market, since like we are all dealing with so much trauma and so much pain and so much discomfort, so much. So it's very important to learn. And also, and also like just before the poem, like your opinion on like female leadership. Or let me just call it that thing. There's actually something I want to expand on that too, but
time and space. But yeah.
And everybody. But thank you very much for coming through. And if you got value from any of this content, smash that like and subscribe button.
Get the book.
And please get the book. Like I will put all the details on how to get that also down in the description. And also check out Janado Talks Football podcast on YouTube. Everything football from a whole bunch of mostly from African, Pan-African perspective, and also African